Hello friends, this is Ramnik Varu. I'm really thankful to my family members who have convinced me finally to do some video clips for you because when they heard my stories and my adventures and my journey from Uganda to UK, they were very excited, very impressed, and they told me that I should do little clips so my grandchildren can watch them later on. So I decided that I'll do my video clips. Now, my story begins with my father, Mr. Jadavji Valji Varu. He was born on 9th of June 1899 in Keshod. It's a lovely town in Saurashtra, very close to Sasan, the Gir forest of India, where you will find Asiatic lions, and it's a world famous lions sanctuary in India. So he was born in Keshod, and my mom, Amrit Ben Valji Vara, she was born in Vanscharia, Saurashtra, India, and she was the eldest sister of Lalji Valji Vara and Chagan Valji Vara, the timber merchants of Thika, Kenya. These both brothers were very famous in singing bhajans, and they occasionally appeared on Voice of Kenya to sing bhajans. Those who come from East Africa, they certainly remember them. So obviously my mother comes from a very musical family. So they were married in India, my father and mother. I can't remember the date, but they were married and they had 3 children. And all of them were daughters. All of them were girls. My eldest sister was called Jaya Gauri. My second sister, Nankuvar. Now these two they are both dead now. But my third sister, Kanta, she still lives in London, and she's my youngest sister among my family. My father had a shop in Porbandar, and which wasn't running very well. He was struggling because he had to feed a large family with very low income in this. So he had always in mind that he must go to Africa, and he heard lots of stories that British were building railways in Africa, and there were plenty of job opportunities. So he was thinking to go to Africa, but finally, when he couldn't manage anymore, so he just left for Africa, leaving my mother and 2 daughters back in India. So he left from Porbandar in a feluka boat, we call Van in Gujarati, and he wanted to come to Mombasa. Now, feluka boat is a boat which runs on wind power. It hasn't got an engine. So if the wind is flowing towards the direction of the travel, then the boat reaches within 2 to 3 weeks time. But if the wind is flowing against the flow of the direction, then it takes ages. God knows how many months it will take. But my father was very lucky. He just made it within 3 weeks, and he came to Mombasa. He came to Mombasa, then he just landed in a place where he had no idea what to do in a new country. And luckily he met few Indian friends, Indian people there, and he made some friends with them, chatted with them, and then he made some really good friends, and he stayed few weeks there in Mombasa. But then finally he decided that he must go to Uganda. So he came to Uganda in a Teso district, a township called Sarere. He went there and settled down there. He did a few odd jobs to survive, and then finally decided that he must do a business. So he opened a little shop called Duka. Duka is a small shop, is the African word. So he started selling all the little groceries, uh, and like salt and sugar, milk, and like that. So he started selling them, and he became very popular among African people. And then he started doing good business. He expanded and making good business. And we had a shop. It was a corrugated iron sheets building, so it was quite vulnerable, for burglars to come and do some burglary. So, but still, he was there doing some business. After a few years, my father stayed there, and he was thinking of my mother and daughters to how to call them to Africa. And then he made enough money, and then he sponsored my family, mother and two daughters, to come and join to Africa. And finally, my mother and two daughters, they came again in felucca boat and joined my father in Africa. And we started, they started living very happily because they were all together now. And in 1945, I was born, Ramnik Varu was born. So I'm just stopping my story here, and then I'll carry on my story further. Thank you very much.